What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? And today we are talking about the name, the myth, the legend, the sacrifice, the future. Sell all your clothes, sell all your underwear, even sell your car, because the only thing you will need is a Nintendo NX. And today we are talking about, should Nintendo keep the name Nintendo NX? This got me to thinking. It got me to thinking about the Nintendo DS. Now, the Nintendo DS was the code name for the Nintendo DS, believe it or not. Dual screen. It made sense. Two screens. It was the first system to have the first modern system to have two screens on it, okay? If you think back to Game & Watch, but come on in. So the name DS, Nintendo DS, it's catchy, it's quick, it's spicy. So Nintendo DS, they came out and said, hey, guess what? We're gonna keep this name, Nintendo DS. And to my knowledge, it was the first code name that Nintendo actually kept. If you think back to NES, no one even knew what the fuck it was because that just, was new thing came out, whatever. Super Nintendo, there wasn't things like the internet back then, so I was too young. You looked at magazines, but I don't remember there being a code name for Super Nintendo. I don't even think people knew. It was just like, oh, Super Nintendo's coming out. And people were like, what? And then with the Nintendo 64, I know it was called the Ultra 64 in magazines too. I still have some of the magazines, I believe, where it's advertised as being the Ultra 64. I guess you could say that was kind of a code name because it was kind of last minute-ish, as far as I remember, that they changed the name to Nintendo 64. That's right, you would look in the magazines and you would see the Nintendo 64, as you know and see it today, the same shape and everything, but it had the logo of Ultra 64. Crazy times, can you believe it? So I guess that was kind of a code name for Nintendo 64, but then again, that's iffy because we knew what the system looked like and all that stuff. Code names usually represent a time before we know what the system looks like and before we barely know any information on the system. So then we go on to the GameCube. The GameCube's code name was Dolphin. And then you go on to the Wii. The Wii, we all remember, was the Revolution, right? And the Wii U, I believe, was called Project Cafe. I forget what other Nintendo handhelds had code names. I forget if the 3DS even had a code name. But the first time since the Nintendo DS, can we see a Nintendo system keeping its code name? NX kind of stands for next, right? And it makes sense. Nintendo Next, the next generation, the next system, the future. It's next. It's the, oh my god, it's the next way you will live your life. Your life will evolve. So the name is catchy. The name makes sense. Just like the DS did, dual screen. This is a little bit different, a little bit off, but next still makes sense. NX. It's a catchy name. It's quick. Just like with the Nintendo DS. I can picture people going into the store. I remember I used to work at a store and, people would say, you got that 360 game, PlayStation 3, for short is PS3. Every system kind of has a short name, a quick name, a nickname to it, right? So, you have that DS game, you have that 64 game. So I could see people going into the store and saying, what version of this game do you want, you little fuck? And the person says back, give me the NX version. I could totally see that happening. Who knows what the system entails? There's so many patents that have come out. There's so many rumors. It goes from, I remember the older rumors being it's underpowered. The new rumors it's going to be more powerful. We don't know what this thing is going to be. So maybe there's something about this system that it will be named after, but the name NX is kind of catchy. It kind of goes. I could totally see people going in the store and being like, hey, give me that NX game. Give me the NX version. It's quick, it's catchy, it makes sense, and it reminds me of the situation with the Nintendo DS. Ooh! What do you guys think? Would you think Nintendo was going to keep the name NX? Would you like them to keep the name NX? Let me know, let the world know, because this is very important information. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joey JCM, and that's it. That's all I gotta say to you for this moment. Nintendo, give us something before I piss my pants and drag it down the street. This is Joey JCM, and I will see you later.